Hello again, welcome back. Today's Monday and we're going to continue with some gentle strength and balance exercises for home independence. My name is Monique and I'm the physiotherapist that will be taking you through these exercises. And here I just want to introduce you to Vito. Vito is safely chained out of the way so that he doesn't trip me over. And also I wanted to show you my environment today. I've got my 2 chairs set up and I also have my 2 water bottles set up. So let's start with some limbering up exercises. So we're going to bring our chin to our chest and we're going to hold it there. We're going to put some overpressure over our head just so we get a nice stretch at the back of our neck. Now while we're doing this, make sure you're taking some deep breaths, nicely relaxed in and out. And also, I just want to caution you with these neck exercises. So I know that sometimes people have narrowing of the blood vessels in their necks. And if you do have an extreme range of motion in your neck, if you start to see white spots in front of your eyes, that's a sign that you should just come back to the middle position. So let's continue. So we're going to take our chin up to the sky and hold it there. Another nice deep breath. And out. Okay, back to the center. Now we're going to just turn our nose as far as we can in one direction over one shoulder. And if you feel that that's easy for you, then you can give yourself some overpressure. Just a gentle push with your hand on your jaw. And look over the back of your shoulder as far as you can. And then release that, come back to the middle, and same on the other side. So just going to turn our nose to the other side. Give yourself a little bit of overpressure. Now remember, if this is causing white spots in front of your eyes, just release that hold and come back to the middle. Okay, so white spots we don't want because that indicates that you're narrowing the blood vessels and the blood is being compromised. We don't want that, especially in the head region. So if that's not you, then that's fine. Okay, so let's just take our nose to look down to the floor on the outside of our knee. So I'm looking on the outside of this knee and I'm coming right down as far as I can. I'm going to put my hand on top of my head, give it some overpressure. So I'm getting actually a nice stretch at the back here along my neck towards my shoulder. In fact, I should probably use this hand the same direction that I'm looking in. So the hand that's on the same side as the direction I'm looking in. And then I get an even better stretch along that region. And come back up, and we'll just repeat that on the other side. So taking my nose down towards the floor on the other side there, looking down as much as I can, putting my hand on my head so it's the hand on the same direction that I'm looking in, and I'm going to get a nice stretch along the back of the neck there towards the shoulder. Taking the deep breaths. Now ordinarily, if we weren't filming this, we'd have a longer stretching time. So a good stretch takes about 20 to 30 seconds. And in that time, you can take some nice deep breaths, maybe 4 cycles of deep inhalations and exhalations. Okay, let's go on to our next activity. We're going to roll our shoulders, roll them backwards, rolling them just a few times and bring them forwards. And now I'm going to lift my arm above my head. Now, if you don't have very good shoulder range, you can assist that. You can bring that up with the other arm if you need to. Otherwise, just reach up as high as you can and feel that stretch along the side. You can also go up and down with your shoulder. So as if you are just reaching up for something that's slightly out of reach. You can feel that shoulder blade moving against your ribs, just loosening it up there. And bring it down. Same on the other side. So we're going to take that arm up over our head, looking up and reaching up high as we can. And we're just going to get a little bit more range if we can at the end of that, reaching upwards. Okay, and come back down. So now let's take both arms around. We're going up in a circle, breathing in as we go up, and then breathing out on the downhill. Let's take it round, so we're just going in this direction again. Breathing in on the upward, and breathing out on the downward. Okay, let's reverse direction. Breathing in. And breathing out. Now remember, if you're watching the other day, I was using a broomstick. So if you have trouble lifting your arms that high, you can actually use a broomstick to help you with that. So what we're doing, we're just going to go around one more time, going up, breathing in, and breathing out. Okay, going to get my bottles of water now. I've got 2 bottles of water, filled about the same amount, and I think they would be just over 1 kilo, probably about 1.5 kilos, maybe somewhere between 1.5 and 1 kilo. I'm going to tuck my elbows in to my side, and I'm taking the bottles out. So at the same time, I'm sitting up as tall as I can and tucking my chin in. So as we start to get older, we start to sort of flop down a bit with our shoulders and our chins start to poke out. Let us try and tuck our chin back, and I'll show you what that looks like from the side. So I'm going like this. I've got a chair in the way on one side. Just do it on one arm. So I'm bringing my shoulders back and tucking my chin in. And I'm just looking forwards and remembering to do my nice deep breathing. So we don't need to do too many of those. What this is doing though, it's helping the back of our shoulder. And if we pull our shoulders back, I have to keep reminding myself to do that so I'm not slouching now as I'm getting older. Pulling the shoulders back, tucking the jaw back, and taking that arm back. And that will help strengthen the muscles around our shoulder joint and keep the muscles in the right place in the joint, or keep the bones in the right place, held in place by the muscles. So let's do that on the other side. Just move my chair. And we're going to remember to bring our shoulders back, tuck our chin back as much as we can. So we're getting some nice posture. Tuck our elbow into our waist and take that back. You don't have to have a weight for this one, but if you can manage it, it's a nice one to use the weight for. Okay, just have to correct my posture again. So I'm tucking my chin in, bringing my shoulders back, trying to have nice upright posture. Okay, and that, like I said, is going to strengthen this part of my shoulder. As we get older and we start to slump forwards, it's easier for the muscles on the front of our body. It's harder to keep those muscles that keep us pulled back, keep them strong. So we need to focus on that. Another thing you can do actually, I'll just do this one standing up, because I don't have room on this chair. You can get your water bottle and you can just I'll show you an example. So if you're trying to maintain safety and you needed to hold on with one hand, you could do it that way. So what I'm doing, I'm taking my arm straight back with the weight. You can do it with two hands. So again, we're pulling our shoulders back and we are tucking our chin in. I will also, because I'm able to, I'm going to do that with two weights. But if your balance is a bit, if you're a bit unsteady on your feet, just use one weight, just do it one at a time. Maybe rest one hand on the chair. So shoulders back nice and square, chin tucked in, and just a straight arm going back. You can also build in the Pilates type exercise. So what do I mean by Pilates type? I mean, everyone talks about Pilates nowadays. All it is using your core muscles. That's what I'm trying to get at. So we'll have a little, try and explain to you about your core muscles here. I think I did touch on it in one of our other sessions the other day. So it's like lifting and squeezing your pelvic floor. So if you put your fingertips here inside the pelvic bones at the top here, that's where the belly button is. Just come out from the belly button, you'll find a set of bones there. Put your fingertips in there and squeeze and lift from your pelvic floor. You should feel a tightening of the muscles under your skin there. And it doesn't matter how much body fat you're carrying, you should be able to feel that. Okay, so when I'm doing that, when I'm using my weights, it's a nice habit to get into, to squeeze and lift the pelvic floor in that position, and then do your weights on, as well as squeezing the pelvic floor. And that's a very good training strategy. So some people won't be able to do that, I know, so I want you to be safe above all. So have one hand on your bench or one hand on your chair, like I'm doing now. So I'm doing my squeezing and lifting, and I'm also going to take my weight back. Remember, square the shoulders, tuck the chin in. And if you can do that, if you can do them all together, then it kind of is going to look like this. So it's shoulders back, chin in, slightly bent with the knees, and here we go. We're just going with straight arms back. 3, 4, 5, 6. Try and keep the pelvic floor contracted. And that's probably about as long as you'll be able to do that for in one go. So the next set of exercises we can do, we might do some sitting to standing just to get our legs working. Now remember, in the morning, I gave you a tip a couple of sessions ago. If you're a person that has sore hips and you want to limber your hips up, get the joints feeling like they're warm and not sore with arthritis, you can take your leg out and take your foot out and in, out and in. I'll just show you what that looks like on this angle so you can see where my foot's going. So I'm just sort of, it's like oiling the joints of a machine, except it's your hip. So we're going to take our foot out and in, out and in. And you can do that in a whole lot of different angles. It's actually a really nice, comforting exercise. Out and in. So by the time you've done that a bit, you've oiled up the joint. It's ready to do a bit more work. So let's do that on the other leg now. Take the toes out and in. And why am I holding here? It's because this is where the hip joint is, and I can feel it rolling in and out as I'm doing this movement. And I'm just going to change the angle. Out and in. And just behind my chair at the moment. Out and in. Okay, so we're ready to do a bit more work now with our hips. So let's do some sitting to standing. Always think of your safety, so make sure you've got something you can hold on to, or maybe the back of the chair, the bench, a handrail, something to support you in case you're unsteady. If you have quite good balance, then you won't need to worry about that so much. I'm going to sit towards the end of my chair. Now just look at the angle here that I've made. My knees are coming a little bit out and my heel is coming back about 10 centimeters behind my knees. I'm going to keep my body up as tall as I can. Now there are different levels for doing this, and I know some people can't get out of a chair on their own without using their hands. So if you're one of those people, that means that you might need a bit more exercise for your thighs, the fronts of your thighs, called the quadriceps muscles. And this is a brilliant exercise for it. The more you do this exercise, the stronger your muscles will get, and you'll be able to get out of that chair. But we want you to have good balance as well and stay safe. So if you have armrests, you can use those armrests to help you push up through the armrests, or you can push up through the seat of your chair. The secret to getting out of your chair is to bring your shoulders forward evenly over your knees. So let's focus on that. I'm going to do it this way because I can, and I've got fairly strong legs. So here we go. We'll just do 10. 1, 2, 3, and let's think of our alignment as well. So I know sometimes I tend to stick my head out a bit too far. I'm going to pull my shoulders back and put my chin in a bit. 4, 5. So we're making all the muscle activity come from our thighs and our bottom. You'll feel that in your gluteals. We call them the big fleshy muscles behind, which make up our bottom. And the fronts of our thighs. Now I've completely lost track of how many I've done. I think we must be about 10 by now. I'll do one more. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to do some more hip exercises. So let's stand up again. I'm going to turn my chair around. So this is my 2-chair safety technique, and it's like having a couple of handrails really. So we're going to, first we're going to take our feet a little bit apart, and we're going to lean, we're just warming up our hips a bit more. This is a great little routine if you get sore hips and you're sore in the morning with arthritis or something like that. Okay, so now we're going to make a circle with our hips. So we were doing side to side before, now we're just making a circle. Now, if you want to throw a balance component in here, you can take your hands above the chair or just put your fingertips on the chair. And I recommend that you bend your knees a bit too. So it's like a slow motion hula hoop, isn't it? I'm sure many of you used to play with hula hoops. So we're just having a nice range of motion through there, and this is also a little balance exercise. Now, I told you in one of my other sessions about the center of mass, which is the heaviest part of our body, which is around here. Falling straight to the ground. I don't mean literally falling, so don't anyone fall, but it's if you drew a line or had a plumb bob or an anchor from the heaviest part of your body down towards where gravity is pulling it, then that would be where your balance point would be. So if that point, if that invisible line falls between your feet, the area of your feet, then you're going to be more stable. So let's just feel what that feels like. And we do this again, and you can sort of feel that point moving around. Your balance point is changing. And sometimes, even if you go sort of even further than that, you can feel that maybe it's falling outside of your feet, And that's when the brain has to work harder to tell the muscles what to do to stay balanced. So if we were to bring our feet closer and do that, it's a lot easier to lose our balance. I should say it's more challenging to keep your balance. So that's called reducing your base of support. So if we want to challenge our balance more, if we're pretty good at it and we think we can, try a few more challenging moves, then the idea is to bring your feet closer together or even go up on one foot. So let's do a few of those. First of all, before we do that, I just want to go in the other direction because we've only gone in one direction with our hips. So we'll just even it up, do our hula hoop action in the other direction. Just a few little hula hoops there. Okay, so let's get to our balance. We're going to bring our feet closer together. Some of you will need to hold on for this, so please do that. We don't want any mishaps at home. So we're going to bring our feet closer together and we can have one finger on a chair, bend our knees a bit, and we're going to reach and lean. Now that's quite challenging. You'll feel all sorts of things happening in your feet and ankles when you do that. So don't reach and lean too far. Reach and lean. Make sure you've got something to hold on to because it is challenging. Reaching and leaning in a controlled way. That's one of the principles of effective balance training. Let's try it with the other hand. So have this hand able to grab something if you need it. And we're reaching and leaning over our base of support. We've reduced our base. Whoa, there we go. We've reduced our base of support. We're trying to challenge our balance now, reaching and leaning. Okay, what's another way we can reduce our base of support, which I just mentioned a second ago? Yes, so you can take your foot up. Let's bend the knee here and we'll minimize our base of support by holding more lightly through the chair. Some of you will need to hold onto the chair and you do that if you need to. Otherwise, those who are okay for balance, we're going to take our hands above the chair and we're just going to go up and down. Now this is a good challenge for your balance. We'll just do 5 on each leg. I think we're up to 4 now. Okay, other leg. Remember, so slightly bend the knee, bring the foot up, hands above the support, and we're going to go up and down 5 times. 1, 2. I know some of you out there will be leaning forwards. Just try and keep your body up nice and tall. That was 3, 4, and 5. How did you go? I hope you went well. So here's another thing we can do. Just while we're standing up, I want to do a few exercises that relate to functional activities. So one of the most functional activities that we can do to stay independent is walking safely. So in the walking cycle, if you look at this is my right leg, just keep watching my right leg. I'm just going to show you what happens when we walk. So this is our first step. We're going to touch the ground with our heel. We're going to roll through our foot, and then we're going to press into the floor with our toes, as meanwhile the other leg's coming through to take this next step. So as that happens, we are pushing through the floor with our foot, and then we go on to the next step. So that was very slow motion, and it doesn't, of course, naturally look like that. So some of the exercises we're going to do are from a program called the Otago Exercise Program, and we'll quickly go through a few of those for functional lower limb strengthening and balance. So here's one out of the Otago Exercise Program. This one is called, they call it the calf raises. Heel raises is calf strengthening. heel raises. You'd think I would know this because I've done it about 1,000,000 times, but here we go. So we're just going up and down, getting our heels off the floor. We're strengthening the muscles of our feet, and of course, this is the part of our body that's really working. So, can you remember which part of the gait cycle this exercise is good for? So I'll show you again. Watch this right leg. So I'm stepping, I'm rolling through my foot, and now I'm pressing. And this is at that point there, that step there, that's when my muscle has to tighten and push through the floor. So that also provides me with a spring in my step so that I can get a nice step length for the next step. So that innocent, easy looking exercise is actually really, really important. It's really important because it helps us stay looking young when we walk, and it helps us take a decent sized step. Now, if my calves were weak, I'll just show you what it looks like. If my calves are weak, this is what I end up with when I walk. I've got sort of a 4-foot type step first, and it's, it just doesn't look as good, does it? Let's be honest. Okay, so let's just do that a few more times. Let's just do 10 more quickies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And if I wanted to really make it hard, I could stay up there and maybe, time myself for a minute if I can do that, or more, or however long I can, because that is going to really make those muscles work. So I could count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, to make it even more challenging, if I wanted to really challenge my balance, I will take my hand off the back of the chair, off the support. Only do that if you have the confidence that you can manage yourself, and if you have something that you can hold on to if you need it. So here we go. I'm going to count to 10 and do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How did you go? Well, my calves are feeling a little bit weary now, so I think yours must be. So we've got some other exercises that are really good from the Otago exercise program. I'll just turn my chair around and I'll show you one of them. So this exercise is for this side hip muscle. They call it the side hip strengthening exercise. And it's for a muscle called gluteus medius. Now, gluteus medius, when we walk, it helps us keep our pelvis level, and it helps us sort of stop from collapsing sideways when we're walking. So we end up having a level pelvis when we're stepping, rather than looking like this, shuffling along. So this is the gluteus medius exercise, or they call it the side hip strengthening exercise in the Otago exercise program. And it just involves taking your foot out about that far with a straight leg, straight out to the side. So we're keeping our body up tall, and here we go, 10 on each leg. 1, 2, and I'm leading with my heel. That was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, if that hurts you, if that sort of felt a bit uncomfortable on your other leg, you can bend the supporting leg a bit so that your joints are not jammed, packed on each other. So let's try that with the other leg now. I'm going to bend that knee slightly, and I'm going to take my leg out. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, how was that? So we've got lots of other things we could be doing, We can do, how about we do one of these ones. So we could actually do a hamstrings strengthening one. So there's two exercises you can do in this position. You can keep your legs straight and take it straight back, and in that case you're getting your bottom muscle, so that's really good for when you're walking and you want to take a nice size step. Or you can do it in this position, so we're keeping our knee in line with our other leg and we're just pressing back through our foot, and that also works your bottom muscle, but it also works your hamstrings. Hamstrings don't often need as much work as these ones, the quads. But because we're nearing our 30-minute time limit for today, I'm just going to leave you with those exercises you can participate in at home on your own. And I just remind you, make sure you have something that you can hold on to when you do them. And people are always asking me, how many should I do? Well, that's going to be up to your own individual level, your ability. But in general, start with 5 to 10, maybe do them 3 times a day, link them up with an activity you already do. So it might be, you might go and make a cup of tea 3 times a day. So while you're waiting for your kettle to boil, you could do those sort of exercises. And the good news is you only need about 20 to 30 minutes of these sort of exercises to maintain your balance as we get older. So thank you for your attention. It's been really great to be with you again, and I'll see you again on Wednesday. We're starting at 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Thank you. Bye-bye.